all know that Steel is an overpowered typing. I mean, it literally has 10 resistances and an immunity. The move pool's crazy, and all in all, the type's home to some of the best Pokemon to ever graze the franchise. However, to combat that point, there are only 14 unique evolution lines that are Steel type in Scarlet and Violet's base game. However, one of those Pokemon is Goldengo, who I won't be able to shiny hunt, and another is Iron Treads, who equally I can't shiny hunt, leaving us with 12 possible Pokemon to take on the entirety of the region, beating every gym leader, Titan, and Team Star boss along the way, before finally confronting the Elite Four, the champion, and of course, if we make it that far, Professor Sada's sentient robot. Not only that, but we're exclusively using full odds shiny Pokemon to do this, and it's a hardcore Nuzlocke. No shiny charm, no sparkle sandwiches, just a guy with an obnoxious amount of time and not enough of a social life to do anything interesting with it. Strap in, my friends, because this one is gonna be a doozy. Now, after finally making it out of the never-ending button mash that is the intro to this game, I was inevitably ready to shiny hunt for our first team member. And the first Pokemon that caught my fancy was none other than Tinkatink. Ordinarily, I would reinforce how dumb this idea truly is by telling you how long the hunt took, but in this case, oh no wait, no, in this case, nothing changed. My friends, I ran in circles for 6 days. Not in-game days, real days. Yep, this run was one of those. I do these runs for fun, but sometimes I question why my definition of fun is subjecting myself to the cortisol implosion that is a full-on shiny hunt. You get to the point where you question everything you know. Did I miss it? There's no way it should actually be taking this long. Why am I doing this? What sort of person runs in circles for almost a week expecting something to— oh, that's it! Ah, finally! Tinkatink! It exists! It's real! Ah, it's done! Finally! You caused me so much pain. Oh, I can make some progress. Now that I was released from the self-imposed shackles of the first hunt, we could finally make some progress. I took my little mahogany-chested Tinkatink, named her Peach, and proceeded to Cortondo, where I rolled an olive, proving my worth to the baker, who has seemingly monopolized this town. Not only does she run the gym, but she owns one of the only establishments in this place. What a girl boss. Speaking of girl bosses, I picked up the TMs for Rock Tomb and Swords Dance respectively, and taught them both to Peach. So after that was done and dusted, it was time to take on Katie. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a second to react to this together because, and I bullcrap you not, this video is sponsored by Persona 3 Reload. Yep, I'm as flabbergasted as you are. Persona 3 Reload is the captivating reimagining of the pivotal game of the Persona series rebuilt with cutting-edge graphics, modernized quality of life features, and incredible signature UI. And the beauty of it is, you don't need to have played previous Persona titles to enjoy it or to know what's going on. The Persona 3 Reload storyline is self-contained, meaning all of you bozos who haven't already played it won't get confused. But I mean, we've all played Persona, right? Persona 3 Reload is available for all of us nerds, whether it's on Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, Windows, Steam, PS5, or PS4, which is fantastic for me because I'm still actively using a PS4 because I'm poor, shut up, I know. It's available for pre-order now and launches on February 2nd, 2024. And side note, I get so many comments about the background music that I use in these videos, and I literally use Persona tracks in every single one. So it's fair to say that this sponsor is huge for me. Do me a favor, click the link in the description, pre-order it for me. It helps me out a lot, you don't know. She leads in Nimble, and surprise, I lead Peach. Off the bat, I clicked the Terra button and used Swords Dance. Then we took a now not very effective double kick, and the next turn I set up another Swords Dance and took another super weak hit. Then a Rock Tomb smooshed the first bug, and Katie brought out a spider, who, you know, also just died. Katie brought in a teddy bear who was engulfed in a Terra Crystal. Then after it literally survived on 0.5 HP, Fury Swipes did a pretty terrifying amount of damage, bearing in mind it only hit twice. That could have literally ended my run instantly. But hey, listen, the bear falls as expected. I want you to know though, if Tink died there, I wasn't restarting. That was it. End of the Gentledude YouTube channel at the hands of a teddy bear wearing a bug hat. But hey, since I didn't waste 6 days for nothing, let's press onwards to the crab. Phase 1 was a breeze. I used Swords Dance and then two-shot it with Metal Claw before healing and dolphin diving off a cliff to make sure that the innocent Pokemon that was only minding its business doesn't get away with it. I'm the good guy in this story. Even though I entered its home, beat it to a pulp, chased it when it tried to escape, and literally committed a murder on a living creature because some handsome kid at my school asked me to. Well, you know how it goes. Don't cry over spilt cloth. I followed the handsome guy into a cave and we shared a meal that was rudely interrupted by my bicycle, who wanted to eat the sandwich that Arvin had carefully made for me. Carefully? I don't think that's the right word. Then the bike farted and I could get on my way. Now listen, if it were up to me, I wouldn't worry about shiny hunting again. I'd take Peach to the very end alone and we would sweep the game with R and Geodude by our side. However, I'm aware that I need to hunt more. One, because you maniacal people enjoy watching me suffer, but two, because in a few checkpoints time, I'm gonna have to face Giacomo, which we're prohibited from doing until we have 3 Pokemon. So I succumbed to the cruelties of my reality and opted to hunt for a Bronzo. So I went back to the stupid place that I initially ran around to find Tinkatink, and after less than a few hours I found a shiny, but wait, is that? Oh no, that's a shiny. Okay. Then, literally less than 6 hours later, I found another shiny. I try to sometimes. But oh no, that's a no, why? Why? Oh jeez, okay. Oh, how many times am I gonna Oh! You wait, You're green. You're green. You're green. Yes! Finally! Thank you! You emerald beauty! You're so fantastic! You deserve 2 birthdays. Oh, thank you for existing! Finally, I could move on. You know, it might not seem like I'm in as much peril as I am, and to be frank, I've actually been told that I have trouble verbalizing my emotions. Can't say I'm surprised. I digress. After making it to Artisan and shepherding a flock of sunflowers, I taught the TM for pounce that Katie gave me to Peach, before heading into the gym to square off against Brassius. See, this guy thinks he's pretty cool jumping off an active windmill, but whatever respect that superhero landing got from me was instantly negated by the fact that he led a Petalil, and I led Peach. To play it safe, we set up a couple of swords dances, taking pretty minimal damage in the process. Then one single pounce obliterated Brassius' lead. He brought in an olive, but one super effective hit flowed that as well. Then finally, it was time for his ace. Man said something about truly Woodo before terastalizing and taking a pounce like it was nothing. Then I misclicked and terastalized, which was almost an insane blunder because we took a pretty ludicrous amount of damage from the next hit. But listen, it was all good because pounce lowers speed, so knowing that Trailblaze won't increase the sausage to allow it to outspeed, Peach could comfortably outpace it and kill it the next turn. Listen, everything happens for a reason. It's just, in this case, the reason is that I'm a cabbage and I make bad decisions. So with a spring in my step, I went to collect the TM for Power Gem, and I took the time to beat up a bunch of children for the shady man who stands at a Pokemon Center giving out Eviolites to the strongest 10-year-old. Which I'm not going to question, because I'm the strongest 10-year-old. Why was I preparing so much, I hear you ask? Because Bombardier is scary. Regardless, I couldn't put it off forever, so I decided to bite the bullet and go for it. I terastalized Peach off the rip against the Stork, because sure we lose the rock resistance, however Peach knows Draining Kiss, so no matter what sort of damage we take, we should be able to heal most of it, if not all of it back with the super effective move. Well, that is, unless we get crit. Yep, okay, fantastic. Right on cue. Incredible, sublime, amazing. Synonyms. Regardless, we get through the first phase, the bird forgets where it is, Beak butts a rock, and initiates the second phase. And this time, since we have Arven and his Knackley on board, I'm not as terrified as before. We attack the bird, do pretty negligible damage, and after Knackley attacks it, I swap over to Rob the Bronzor, who does wonders here. Rob takes a hit, Knackley lands some incredible damage, and Rob used a fatal power gem to KO the bird once and for all. We made it out with no casualties. Big dub, no cap. Ooh, woo. I don't know why I did that. I followed Arven into another confined space where we share another meal and feed our pets before I can move on to the next monarch. Except that I actually can't, because the next boss that we need to face is Giacomo, and we can't enter his lair with less than 3 Pokemon, and last I counted, 2 is less than 3. Now listen, the next hunt was ridiculous because mid-hunt I got a phone call and was on the line and entirely AFK for absolutely ages, and when I came back there was just a sea of Magnemite, and to the far right of the screen, barely even there, I spotted a black magnet. And do you know what sort of Magnemite has a black magnet? A sparkly one. The Cyclops magnet hunted itself. What a result, bruv. This is full odds. I caught it, named it Wario, and pressed on. However, before progressing towards the Star Crew, I had to run a few errands to not mess up. You know, any more than I already have. So I snagged the TM for Play Rough and Reflect and taught them to Peach and Wario respectively. So with everything situated, it was time to fight the edgy, cool music producer, aka Giacomo, aka Kevin. He leads a Ponyard and I led Wario. Off the rip, they land a Fury Cutter that does 5 hit points of damage, and then Giacomo followed that by being like, ha, how's that? I'll spin you up good. Which is he flirting with me or what? I don't know. Anyway, we land a Thunder Wave, meaning the next turn Wario outspeeds and sets up a Reflect. We take a weak hit, and so the next turn I was safe to swap over to Peach. And we get the full power on the Switch, so it was a clean one. We take a hit and set up a few swords dances, get a few full powers, and eventually KO the Steel Toddler with a quad effective Rock Smash. Then Giacomo sends in his sentient Ford F-150, and so I terastalize Peach, and after taking a pretty weak Wicked Torque, a Terra boosted +6 physical attack Play Rough one-shots the car. Easy peasy. In common Pokemon rival fashion, Nemona won't bloody leave me alone. Can't you see I'm trying to carpe my DM over here? Some people, man, I'm careful with my carpes too. It's a dangerous motto. If you seize every day, you probably have epilepsy. Anyway, after embarrassing a school child, then playing hide and seek with the headmaster to make money for an e-girl on the internet, I could run a few errands before taking on said e-girl for my third batch. So, firstly, I made my way to Delibird Presents and spent 20 of my $26,000 on a lump of clay. And since the level cap had increased, I could evolve Peach from a tiny hammer-wielding girl boss into a slightly bigger hammer-wielding girl boss. Then I figured it was probably time to endure a new shiny hunt. Now, all things considered, right, I know I can't necessarily complain because it's full odds, and sure, I have encounter power sandwiches, but no sparkle ones. And 1 in 4,096, I can't really expect it to happen quickly, but like, there comes a point where I stop asking if I believe in Gentledude and start asking if Gentledude believes in me. But hey, after another 4 days of staring at copper elephants, eventually one was slightly more oxidized. Like, in this spot specifically, we could either get Cufin or Ponyard or... Oh, never mind. Yes! Found it! Let's go! Yeah, that's so funny. I was actually just saying, like, the mons that we could get, and then we got the Cupid! Yay! That's sick. Okay, awesome. Nice. That wasn't too long. That wasn't, like, ridiculous. And so now, with the elephant in my back pocket, I could take on the stream gal. I don't know, you, me. She leads a Thunder Pigeon and I opted for Rob. We took a Spark off the rip and instantly got parried, which isn't very live, laugh, love. After taking another hit, I thought it best to set up a Reflect, then swiftly afterwards, Rob shook off the paralysis to please me, which would have been sick had they not then instantly get hit with another Spark that re-paralyzed. And got the full power. Listen, it is what it is. We play the hand we're dealt. We floor the bird and Luxio hits the field. I opted to stay in to try and use one single power gem, but Rob took a bite that managed to flinch. So yeah, no, amazing. Thanks, Rob. I swap over to Peach, who in theory will be more reliable here, and the oncoming bite does virtually nothing. So the next turn we Terra, and a play rough does a solid 3/4 of this thing's health. We take a hit, and the next turn outspeed and floor the cat. The belly bolt comes in, and so I opt to bring in Wario to take a Spark, which does virtually nothing. Magnevity lands Eerie Impulse, which is great to help negate this thing's special attack, and so after 2 of those, we set up another Reflect before switching over to Peach. She avoids the water gun on the switch in, and that gives me the space to start setting her up with Swords Dance, although Spark still does more than I'd like it to. So after taking one and avoiding one, I decided to play it safe-ish and use Play Rough to one-shot the frog. Finally, it was time for Iono's ace, Miss Magus. They pressed the big old Terra button, turning the ghost into an electric type. They then opted to try and confuse Ray, but Peach's ability, Own Tempo, doesn't allow that, and so with one swing of the hammer and a Terra-boosted +4 attack critical hit Play Rough, we win the battle and take the badge. Tasty stuff. Let us continue. Before forwarding our march to Mela and our fire base, which is terrifying considering we only have steel types, I stopped first to pick up the TM for Rain Dance, but in all honesty, with the tools that we currently have in our arsenal, I don't see a way to win this. However, a specific Pokemon came to mind when I was evaluating my situation. That Pokemon was Riolu. In its current state, sure, it isn't a steel type, but it evolves into one, and so if I catch the Riolu, I can guarantee the fighting Terra type, which alleviates the fire weakness, and so now all I have to do is find it.
Oh, please don't show me up on me.
Oh, okay, there it is. That was really, do you know what? That was quicker than I thought it would be. No, come back, bruv, come back. Where you going? Hey! I love it so much.
Now, after raising Falcon the Riolu's happiness as much as I could, running around with her at the front of my party, playing with her, etc, etc, she could promptly evolve from Riolu to a Lucario before we head into Mela's base. So after using my steel types to barely scrape through the pre-base shenanigans, Mela cruised down the street in her 6'4", and before I knew it, I was face on with a lava turtle. I had Rob out front because of course they learn Rain Dance. Torkoal's drought was scary, and what's even scarier is that Rob got outsped. And crit. And burned, which meant that at the end of the round, Rob was destined to fall. So with a heavy heart, I watched as they set up the rain, and through sheer, unadulterated love, Rob pulled through and shook off the burn before it could even do any damage. It's a miracle. I swapped over to Wario, and after taking a hit on the switch, I opted to use T-Wave, which fully powers that turn. Then the next turn I set up a Reflect before swapping over to Falcon the Lucario. We took a Flame Wheel on the switch, but managed to elude the burn, and so for the next couple of turns I used Swords Dance to get Falcon to a good spot. Now, I didn't Terrastalize because Torkoal's other move, Clear Smog, negates all stat buffs, so the Swords Dances would have been useless. Luckily for us though, it's a Poison type move, which doesn't affect our metal friend. So finally, after the setup, I Terrastalized Falcon to the Fighting type, and one single Brick Break obliterated the turtle. Mela summoned to battle the car that she was stood upon, but it took no more than 2 Brick Breaks to break down the car. What an incredible turn of luck. Since the big red metal poop noodle was next, I got the TM for low kick and topped that to Falcon. We exchanged flirty glances before the noodle did a roar, and it was time to dance. I led Falcon, and one single Terra boosted low kick was all it took to send it scurrying. But I wasn't done flirting, especially considering after chasing it through its burrowed cave, Arvin joined the fray. Not that he really needed to. Falcon's Terra boosted low kick did, well, a lot, so one more of those sealed the deal, and we could go for another cave date. After staring into each other's eyes and feeding our pets / dinosaur bicycles respectively, it was time to move. Onwards, my pretties, to Cascarafa. Now, off the rip, this gym leader is a whole mess. Man sprints past me forgetting his wallet, and turns out that I'm the man who needs to reunite him with it, which is strange but easy enough. So I head to the lovely Porto Marinada, where all of the rich people have holiday homes. I beat up a kid, took 50 big ones from the granddad, and won an auction against some other geezers before being told that I've passed the gym test and I can challenge Kofu. However, there's a few errands that I want to run given the new level cap. Firstly, I evolved Wario, so now there's 3 of them, and did an under-the-table deal with a shady TM dealer outside the Messagosa gates for Thunderwave. But Gentledude, the Magmite line gets Thunderwave by level up. Shut up. I know. Shut up. I didn't get it for Wario. I got it for Peach, and after teaching her it, I could proceed to fight Eyebrows. The big man leads his Veluza, and I opted for Rob. We take a pretty hard hit, then set up a Reflect. I tried my chances at Hypnosis, which we actually managed to land, allowing for the free switch over to Peach. And now the game plan is to use Baby Doll Eyes until this fish is a marshmallow. At a point, I realised that Peach still has T-Wave, so I went for that, and so getting off the rest of the Baby Doll realised wasn't difficult between the attack nerfs and the para. Eventually, I brought out the evolved Wario for the first time to set up with Iron Defense, taking pretty minimal damage in the process. Then I opted for Charge Beam because it has the chance for a special attack buff, which we actually land. Then after terastalizing, another Charge Beam KO'd the fish and we got another stat boost. Vlog Trio came in, landed a Water Pulse and went down to a Charge Beam. This time we didn't get the boost though, so with the Crab Yeti hitting the field, Wario was at +6 Fizz Def and +2 special attack. One more Charge Beam literally obliterated it and Kofu was tofu. Wario did good. I'm liking this team comp. Now, with Atticus being our next challenge, sort of, the level caps allowed for something interesting. First things first, let's evo Rob so they can help us do the job. To prep, I brought a Twisted Spoon and talked to the League rep because he gives us quite a nice TM and stomping tantrum. See, my friends, I taught it to our trusty Rob and now it's time to go condemn this stupid Shakespearean lad. To feel the extent of my wrath, I beat up all his minions, see, and now we can commence our plan. He rides in looking smug and swank and opts to bring in a Scun Tank. I can't mind to set up the bell because this thing can't even attack. Sorry, I messed that up. Anyway, we used Stomping Tantrum a bunch to floor the Scun Tank because even though we set up our special attack, psychic moves don't affect dark type. So when Riverroom comes in, we could switch to Extrasensory, which one-shots. Then when Muck comes in, we could take a Mud Slap that does 2 points of damage before we Oko the Gunk Puddle as well. Finally, it's the Starmobile's turn. So we took an attack, then missed an Extrasensory because of the Mud Slap accuracy drop. Then we took another attack and missed again at -1 accuracy. Then we took another attack and finally landed an Extrasensory, which absolutely decimated the car in one single hit. Good job, Rob. We stand Rob in this house. Since the next level cap is 36 in Lorenzo, I could evolve DDD the elephant into a bigger one before using all of my prior Pokemon knowledge, accolade, and prowess to Google the answers to the gym trial. And now, my friends, it was time to take on gym number 5. We're out here slicing and dicing, thriving and surviving, vibing and subscribing. And speaking of subscribing, so Larry's Koala has a pretty easily combatable moveset. So I led by lowering his physical with Baby Doll Eyes, taking a yawn, doing the same again, taking a hit, falling asleep, waking up because I'm a smart Pokemon trainer who utilizes berries, lowering his attack again, taking another yawn, lowering his attack again, falling back asleep, and eventually after waking up and repeating the process a bunch, switching over to Falcon the Lucario, who takes a yawn, sets up a sword stance, takes a hit, falls asleep, wakes up because of a berry, sets up again, gets yawned again. You know what? This is getting old. This is getting old. Eventually I click the Terra button, and after the wolf woke up, a Brick Break puts the sleeping Koala to sleep. The Dunsparce hits the field but gets outsped and meets the same fate. Then finally Larry brings in a Staraptor, and after being egged on by the chef, he terastalizes the birdie to the pure normal type. And since Falcon wait, no, why? No, that wasn't the plan, bro. Oh, Falcon, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, how can I be so dumb? Why would I even risk that? I've got a team of steel types who all resist this thing's entire moveset. That was entirely on me, man. I brought DDD in, who took a facade on the chin and landed a rock smash, and then the next turn, the same thing happened, and since DDD has an Oran Berry, I'm completely safe staying in, and one more rock smash kills. That was abysmal. I'm sorry. That was rough. Oh man, I hate doing this. Falcon, it was brief, but it was a pleasure fighting alongside you. For all it's worth, I'm glad you grazed this team, and your sacrifice alone will fuel the fire in our hearts to keep this run alive. I'm sorry I'm such a dumbass. You didn't deserve that, and it's with every ounce of my chest that I say, and I know you'll agree with me from up there, Falcon Punch. Moving swiftly on, it turns out to evolve Magneton to Magnezone in this game, all I need is a Thunderstone, which apparently I already have. So, I mean, what? Wario's evolving! Okay, bye Wario! Catch you in a bezel! Let's go! It looks... I mean, yeah. Oh, we've got Magnezone. That's sick, bruv. That's sick. Let's progress. So with Falcon falling to Larry, I feel an emptiness in my heart and in my party. So the easiest solution is to replace her and continue like nothing happened. And that's what I did. So I spent the next 2.5 days hunting for a certain little bird that sure isn't a steel type in its base form, but when it evolves, it turns into frankly one of the coolest Route 1 birds in the entirety of the franchise. Okay, can you find me soon? Oh, there. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess it can find me soon. This guy's fully just saying, I'm a worker. He's like, I'm a worker. And Rookedy's like, yep, yes you are. Not only could I fully evolve the birdie, but Peach was at a place to be able to evolve into her final form, Nicki Minaj. Straight off the rip, it was time for Raimi, and to be honest, it was a pretty huge wash because of the crowd chants. A lot of people think they're random in this fight, but they just aren't. You get one for landing a super effective attack, one for terastalizing, one for KOing one of Rhyme's mons, etc, etc. Anyway, after utilizing the easiest battle mechanic in the game and snagging the 6th badge without any qualms, we could press on forth towards the Earth Titan. Palutena the Corviknight was my choice for this one, and so after taking a Brick Break and getting a Hone Claws off, I decided to use Drillpeck a couple of times to KO the elephant. Then Arvin came through and we fought it a second time, so Palutena was joined by a Scovillain, which in all honesty made this fight just a wash. I terrestrialized to the flying type, and even though Drillpeck wasn't doing too much here, the Titan had nothing for us, so after flooring it again with relative ease, Arvin and I went on another date. So we fed our pets, mind farted, and I progressed onwards. There's one steel shiny in this game that I can comfortably say is my favourite. So I went on the hunt for a specific little blue goober, and honestly, I threw on a Studio Ghibli movie, and I'm pretty sure before the movie ended, I was greeted with the shiny that I was looking for.
Oh, okay. That's blue. Oh my god, you're such a good shiny. You're such a good shiny. Wow. Oh, it's running to me.
Incredible scenes, full odds, we're getting lucky. Our Gentledude has my back. I had to partake in a dance class, but once I'd done that and was deemed worthy, I could take on Tulip. Against our space giraffe, I led Wario. After conceding a crunch, we landed a T-Wave before opting to switch directly over to Peach. We take a crunch on the switch, but that's fine. The plan from here was essentially to use Baby Doll Eyes to lower this thing as much as possible. Then after doing that, I realised that Peach didn't have Swords Dance, which was my entire plan, so that's fun. We exchanged hits back and forth until Tink took out Farigiraf. After Espathra hit the field, I swapped over to Wario, who took a Shadow Ball. Then Wario took another before landing a Thunder Wave, and this fight was incredibly scuffed so far, so from here my idea was to switch on over to Rob, who took a super effective attack on the switch, and essentially I terrestrialized to the Steel type so that the oncoming Shadow Ball wasn't super effective and I could set up, but Espathra crit. This isn't going well. So Rob literally survived on a sliver, and now I've wasted my turn. Regardless, we've got a light screen up, so after having a long think, I figured genuinely my best bet here was Ridley, the Ponyard. On the switch, Espathra got full powered, and Night Slash did a lot to the bird the following turn, so after taking a crazy weak Shadow Ball, one more attack killed. Gardevoir came in next, and after taking a not very fun hit, the screens wore off, and I knew staying in with Ridley meant dying. So I swapped over to DDD, who took a couple of hits before absolutely crushing Gardevoir's bones under a heavy slap. Finally, Tulip brought in Florges, the bouquet of unfiltered terror. DDD took a pretty nasty hit, then retaliated with a heavy slam that did quite a lot. Then, since I had to swap out, Palutena made the most sense. We took a Deagling before literally landing one drill peck that killed, and nobody died. Scuffed start, but hey, we all made it out, even little Ridley. The next gym was Glaciado, which is atop a pretty rigid mountain, but it's fine. I don't mind the cold, to a certain degree. The last gym on the list is Grusha, and god damn, it's been a while since I've gazed into those eyes. Those eyes give me hope for a better tomorrow. They make me believe that anything's possible, that I can accomplish anything if I put his eyes to it. So I used my horse to slalom my way down a slope, which should be considered animal abuse, to be honest. But hey, listen, we fight animals for a living, so who am I to complain? I just hope it's consensual. Anyway, Grusha's the ice-type gym leader, and I don't know if you've been watching, but I'm using steel types. I used Wario to negate the special attack on Grusha's Moth with Eerie Impulse, then paralyzed it and swapped over to Peach, and didn't even set up. I just used Metal Claw a couple of times, and even though we didn't land the attack buff, on the turn the Moth died, the Tailwind did as well. So Peach outsped the bear, and a Gigaton Hammer floored that with one hit. Then the Titan came in, so we landed a Metal Claw, took a Liquidation, and floored that with a Gigaton Hammer as well. Grusha then brought in his Altaria, but this thing's moveset completely sucks against steel types. So once they Terra Ice, Peach's Metal Claw was super effective and did a good chunk. Then a Gigaton Hammer absolutely obliterated the Cloud Dragon, and our gym challenge was up. 8 badges in pocket, and I'm overcome with a sense of gratefulness to be in this spot alongside such amazing Pokemon. What a time to be alive. However, the journey was far from over. The Fairy Crew was up next, but, I mean, needless to say, we wiped the floor with them. You know, on account of the fact that my team is the best possible opposing team for Ortega. So, I mean, Rob literally one-shot everything. The Starmobile died in one shot. It was a wash. The Dragon Titan was a bit dramatic. The whale leaped out of the water, committed murder as an intimidation tactic, then after a T-Wave, it got full powered and died to one single Thunderbolt. So, I mean, cool. I chased it through the water and fought it again, but with Arvin by my side. So this time, after paralyzing it again, my Magnet and Arvin Squirrel took turns mercilessly beating the whale until it sank. Then Tatsushimi fell to the same fate, but from Peach, since, you know, fairy moves and stuff. Arvin and I did the usual. We saved his dog, I cried, and from there we could continue on our road to victory. So, with the next level cap, I could evolve Ridley into a Bisharp. Even though for the next fight, that literally doesn't help in the slightest, considering he's quad weak to every Pokemon that Eri has. But hey ho, at least he looks awesome. So Miss Big Boots rolls in with her face painted and sends out a frog. Now, Peach was able to get a T-Wave off, but took a nasty Brick Break in retaliation. And now I was able to get a Baby Doll Eyes off before taking another Brick Break, but we can't risk any more, so off to Palutena it is. On the switch, the frog gets full powered, so we have the space to collect Bulk Up. I didn't Terra here because I didn't love the idea of not being immune to Poison Jab, plus we have the lefties on her, so after a bunch of setup, a terrestrialized Drill Peck absolutely smacks up the froggy. Then Eri brings in her Annihilate. They outspeed and land an Ice Punch, but since no crit and no freeze, a Drill Peck sends the Ghost Monkey to its grave. Again. Passimian comes in, uses Rock Tomb, but inevitably meets the same fate. Same goes with Lucario. Sure, it landed a Dragon Pulse, but Palutena tanked that, and the KO was inevitable. Finally, Eri brought in her car. That again, she's literally standing on. Surely that's hazardous. And also, when the car uses a move, Eri just like disappears from the top of the car and then just like respawns after at the same position. And to be honest, that's really weird, man. So since Eri ceased to exist for a moment, Palutena was free to OHKO with one single drill pick. And with Eri dusted, I could take Ridley and evolve it into a King Gambit. Not that Bishop had any game time whatsoever. Anyway, pre-Elite Four, I realized that DDD had just a horrible nature, and also I realized that I had the Adamant Mint, so I pressed some buttons and now DDD is less bad. So I guess with that, it's time for the Elite Four. Alright, cool, let's sit in a blank room and get grilled by the first member of the Elite Four, and after being deemed worthy, go into the plainest Elite Four room of all time. I can't lie, the more I look at it, the more disappointed I am. Do you remember the old Elite Four rooms? They were sick, bro. Like, almost every generation has had such cool Elite Four rooms, and this doesn't. Anyway, listen. Rika leads Whiskash and I lead Rob. After taking a crazy hit, I opted to set up a light screen and swap over to Palutena. On the switch, we avoid a hit and start bulking up. We dodged a muddy water, then set up another bulk up. The next turn, we took a hit, but it did absolutely nothing, and we have lefties on the board so we can continue setting up. With +4 attack and +4 defense, we were in a good spot to start attacking with Power Trip. And with the setups, that move is a 180 base power attack. Hear that again? 180 base power, bro. Of course the Whiskash fell. Camera Up came in next, and since we outspeed, the Camel goes down. Donphan comes in, which sure has sturdy, but it literally used its only turn to miss a Stone Edge. But then I eat my words because Palutena missed the next power trip and we took a weak hit. Regardless, the next hit landed and the elephant thing fell. Dog Trio outsped and set up Sandstorm, and then Palutena missed an attack. We took a rock slide and got flinched. Okay, we dodged a rock slide and missed another freaking power trip. What? What? I've only got 2 power trips left. And we missed again, bruv! What? How is this happening? What is the accuracy on this stupid move? Oh my god, the last one is... What? We only got 1 accuracy drop from Muddy Water earlier, and then we get flinched, bruv! What is this? How's this happening? Who have I wronged to account for such horrendous RNG? I've never seen anything like this. Listen, I don't know what to say about that. I finally landed an attack and the Dog Trio went down, but that was so dumb, bruv. Clodsire came in, terrestrialized and protected. Can you just let me out of this battle, please? Whatever, listen, after an ungodly amount of unnecessary misses and protect stalls, we took the battle. But literally, between the Dog Trio and this, I've got no words. 1 accuracy drop. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Next up, however, is Poppadom. This has to be interesting. She led a regular, boring, non-chainy Copperaja, and I led Rob. Off the rip, I opted to set up a Reflect, and Poppy set up Stealth Rocks. Then I swapped over Rob to Peach, who took a few pretty nasty hits to get off a bunch of Baby Doll eyes, but since Peach avoided a bunch of high horsepowers, we were able to lower the elephant all the way. And we were able to get off a Thunder Wave before finally switching out to DDD. I had our elephant set up a bunch of iron defenses, and since he was holding the lefties, he stayed at full HP the entire time. And then, since we've got body press, it was time to watch as DDD massacres the Copperaja, and then the Bronzong, and then the Corviknight. Magnezone caused a couple issues since it survived with Sturdy, landed a hard hit, and managed to get the power. But regardless, another hit and it goes down. Finally, it's Tinkaton, and body press has just 1 more PP. Poppy terastalizes and uses an insanely weak Brick Break, and then DD breaks through the power and hits a body press that absolutely obliterates her ace. Easy, and I say this with chest, peasy. Larry, you're next. He leads his Banana Tree and I lead Bronzong. Turn 1, I opted to set up a light screen. Then I pivoted over to Wario on the oncoming Dragon Pulse, which did virtually nothing. Same thing happened again and Wario was free to get a T-Wave off. Then it was time to click Eerie Impulse. I managed to get all 3 off before swapping over to Peach, who sure takes a hit on the switch, but because of lefties, we're chilling. Without taking any damage, we set up Swords Dances before finally going on the offensive. A Play Rough OHKO's the Banana Tree and Larry brought in his Altaria. Unluckily for them, we outspeed and Play Rough gives them the business. Larry's Staraptor hits the field, and since we've got own tempo, Intimidate didn't work. However, the bird outspeeds and Peach takes a crazy close combat. We OHKO, but that wasn't very fun. Oricorio comes in and Peach protects for some lefties recovery before the next turn taking a hit and landing a devastating one in return. The Flamingo comes in and I honestly couldn't figure out whether I should stay or switch. If Peach didn't outspeed, we'd be in a very bad spot, so after Larry terastalized, I opted to protect to scout what he was going for. And as expected, it was a close combat, so I terastalized Peach to the pure fairy type, meaning we now resisted the attack. But Flamingo missed anyway. Crisis averted. Larry's ace goes down and we take the 3rd Elite Four battle without any casualties. Final Elite Four member! Let's do it! Hassel, you're up! My guy leads his Noivern and I lead Rob. I want to get rid of this thing ASAP, so we take a Super Fang turn 1, putting us to exactly half HP. Then we retaliate with a quad effective Ice Spinner that thankfully OHKOs. Axeface comes in and I have no option but to switch over to Peach, predicting the crunch. Peach took it with ease and after protecting for leftovers recovery, we took an Iron Head and set up with Swords Dance. We kept the back and forth between Swords Dance and Protect. We take a nasty Iron Head but then absolutely desolate the dragon. See what I did there? Dragalge's brought in and even though I know we outspeed here, we use Protect to heal up a smidge. Then the next turn we land land a play rough, which actually doesn't even kill in one, so after protecting again, another hit knocks out the seaweed dragon. Flapple comes in next, and since I didn't love the position Peach was in, the plan had to change a little bit. I swapped over to Wario to land a Thunder Wave, so after taking a Leech Seed and a Dragon Rush, that's just what we do. After that, we swapped over to DDD, who took a hit, then the idea was to use Iron Defenses to set up. However, we took another hit, and they managed to flinch us. This really wasn't looking good. The next turn, they got a Leech Seed off, and so in my eyes, there was no option but to attack. We landed a Heavy Slam the O-Code, and before I knew it, Excalibur was hitting the field. Now, I honestly know that this wasn't my smartest ever play, but I stayed in and watched as the pseudo terastallized. Then I followed suit and terastallized as well, and Excalibur used a Brick Break, which we, survived! But to be honest, the Heavy Slam didn't do much, like, at all, so it was a waste of a Terra. DDD was also still seeded, so he was left with 6 points of health before I swapped over to Palutena. Now, on the Switch, we took a Brick Break, which didn't really do much, so we were free to start attacking. We dodge an Icicle Crash, then land a pretty weak Steel Wing for chip damage. We avoid again somehow and land a Steel Wing. Then, after taking a nasty one, hit a Steel Wing that almost kills. Now, I need to swap to someone, but I don't trust that anyone can take 2 attacks off this thing, so I made the big boy decision of letting DDD go down. It wasn't easy, but I had to do it. I retracted Palutena and sent DDD in directly to an attack that KO'd our poor elephant. Rest in peace, buddy. Thank you so much for your sacrifice. I brought in Wario, survived the oncoming Brick Break, and KO'd the dragon. With DDD quite literally in the mud and the Elite Four defeated, there's just one set of doors between us and the champion, but I'm not afraid. Sorry, I don't know why I like doing that voice so much. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's super. I don't know why I do. Anyway, for even with 5 remaining, we will prevail. Gita, humph. Humph! No one can stop me. I'm Gentledude. Me and my steel types will make a mockery of you, and I'll prove that right now. Gita brings in her Espathra, and I lead with Ridley. I terastallized off the rip, and with the dark type crown above me, we take a nasty hit in Dazzling Gleam, but retaliate with a Night Slash that comfortably OHKOs the Ostrich. Now, Go-Goat hits the field, and I opt to swap over to Palutena. On the Switch, Go-Goat uses Play Rough, which is ideal for us. Now it's set-up time. We use Bulk Up, Gita uses Bulk Up. We use it again, she Play Roughs. Some champion this is. Anyway, after a few set-up turns, Palutena's looking good, even after we take a crit play rough. You see, Palutena is able to use Drill Pick to almost OHKO, then after taking a weak hit, another drops the go. Gita brings in our King Gambit, and his ability, Supreme Overlord, is procced by the fact that we've killed 2 of his teammates. Anyway, I opted to play it safe-ish here and swap over to Peach to take the oncoming Kowtow Cleave. And since we have the lefties on, we're in a good enough position. We get the extra recovery, and after outspeeding, we land a play rough that doesn't do a whole lot. I'm making sure to protect every other turn to keep Peach at a solid level of HP. A Swords Dance felt like it was in order, so we did that, but ended up taking an Iron Head that did so much to poor Peach. I protect again for lefties, but to be honest, I think our girl boss might have to go down here. But no! Instead, she decided to pull up and land a crit on the next player off, killing the Gambit. Oh my god! That's insane! Gita brings in her coffee table, and I protected on the switch in. Then the oncoming turn, we outspeed, and a single Gigaton Hammer KOs the Avalon. Veluza is Gita's penultimate Pokemon, and after of course protecting for lefties, a player off all but kills the fish. We take a liquidation that does a decently hefty amount, and so again after lefties protecties, we use one more player off to KO. Finally, Peach versus Gita's Ace Glamora. They terastallize and protect, and the next turn, the last turn between our steel types and the championship title, Peach takes a hit, clings on, and lands a Gigaton Hammer that absolutely obliterates Gita's ace. We won! But the road, of course, doesn't end here. In a display of incredible Pokemon battling prowess and skill, we take on each and every person standing in our way before finally heading down towards Area 0, where we progress towards, you guessed it, Shiny Zweilous. Wait, what? Oh my god, I found a full-on shiny in Area 0, bro. What the what? That's nuts. 1 in 4,096, and there was one waiting for me during the storyline. That's insane. Too bad we can't use it. But since we couldn't use it, I ran away. Merciless, I just ran away from a full-on shiny. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought that'd be a good idea, but I did it, and it happened. That honestly made me lose my train of thought. Where were we? Oh, right, yeah. AI SADA. Time for you to meet your match. The tone is set. The time is here. A Master Ball falls from the heavens, and SADA drops it to reveal her first Pokemon, a Slitherwing. Rob takes a nasty hit and retaliates by setting up Reflect. Then it's out to Peach, who takes a lunge on the switch, lowering its attack. Peach uses Thunder Wave and paralyzes the bug. The next turn, Peach lands a Baby Doll Eyes and takes a low sweep that manages to crit. Knowing that we survive a non-crit, I opted for another Baby Doll Eyes, but sadly, SADA got insanely lucky and another critical hit lands. And my friends, Peach goes down. That wasn't the plan, but we have to keep pressing. This is the last battle. Oh, okay, here goes. Palutena comes in, and from here I opt to start bulking up. We take a few low sweeps which lower our speed, but Palutena was always the plan. So I gave her something to solve that problem. After just enough setup with bulk up, I started clicking agility. And with ample setup complete, I could start going on the offensive. An Iron Head smacks up the Slitherwing, and Fluttermane was sent in. Since our speed's up, an Iron Head absolutely obliterates that as well. Peach's sacrifice, though unlucky, clearly wasn't in vain. Sandy Shocks comes in, but also can't get to do anything. One body press graves it. Screamtail comes in, but an Iron Head is all it takes. Root Bonnet comes in, and since they have Sucker Punch, Palutena takes, well, virtually no damage, and the mushroom goes down. Finally, Roaring Moon comes in. Sada's last paradox hits the field. The booster energy was used, and the dragon's attack was heightened, but it was no use. Because you see, my friends, Palutena was just too powerful and too quick. One hit was all it took, the dragon was defeated, and we took the battle. And the game. My friends, if you enjoyed this, click one of these ones. And hey, if you feel like it, subscribe. We're only 945,000. That sounds so ridiculous. We're only 945,000 away from a million. So subscribe, because you never know. Maybe this one will send us over the edge, and I'll be able to make YouTube my career. Okay, bye.